Kia ora e tiwi and welcome to The Chew,
The Chew.
where we chew the fat of random kaupapa. Anei ahau ko taika māua ko kori.
Kia ora.
And today, wānau, we get to catch up with Brendon McIntosh. Kia ora, Brendon.
Kia ora.
So Brendon is a Māori chemist determined to make a change. He's also a pharmacist and kai whakahaere for Kia Kaha Chemists Ltd, who has iwi links to Ngā Tahu, and is not only helping kaumātua and kuia on the ground as a community pharmacist, but he's wanting to change the way pharmacists interact with Māori throughout the country. So I hope that sort of summed it up for you there, Brendon. How did that sound?
Yeah, sounds pretty good. I don't know where you got that from.
Hey, it's great to have you on. Without further ado, over to you, Hika, to kick us off.
Awesome. Well, tēnā koe, Brendon. It's great to have you on the podcast. Now, what I'd like to do is I'll hand over to you to introduce yourself however way you want to. Then what we'd like to know is where you were born and where you grew up and went to school.
All right. Oh, yeah, kia ora kōrua. Kamhi. Ko hikaroro te mauka, ko waikawairi te awa, ko Kāti hui rapa, ke puki te raki te marae. Ko arai te uru te waka. Yeah, ko Kaitahu te iwi. Yeah, ko Brendon taku ikoa. No Otipoti ahau.
Yeah.
So yeah, grew up in Dunners, on the main road of Fairfield, just below Saddle Hill. So I went to Fairfield Primary, and then is that back far enough? And then yeah, then so at Fairfield Primary, I was pretty keen on following in my father's footsteps, going to King's High School.
Okay.
And my uncles and granddad even went there.
Is this King's in Dunedin?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And because I was going to be an All Black at the time.
Of course.
So I was like, yeah, King's is a good rugby school. All my family went there. But then one of my best mates, his old man was a teacher at Otago Boys High School.
Yeah.
And he sort of filled me in that he's like, nah, OBs are better at rugby. So I've been fed lies my whole life. And then went up to the OB's open night and yeah, found out about Richie McCaw going there. And so yeah, I was like, I better put my application in for Otago Boys as well. And yeah, ended up going there year 9 back in 03.
Yep.
And yeah, it was good decision. Obviously some of your best years of your life.
Absolutely.
There, they had an epic like year 10 camp. They got a lodge up at Mount Aspiring.
Yeah, right. Is that
Mātukituki Valley?
Valley?
Yeah.
I know the place.
Yeah.
We actually went there, eh, bro? Yeah. So we did a noho marae there.
Oh, true.
Or like a wānanga overnighter there. So yeah,
At the
I know.
lodge?
Yeah, at the lodge, at the
Yeah.
Mātukituki Lodge.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the OBS one.
Yeah.
Yeah, funny.
Yeah, so yeah, good memories there. Obviously you go there and you got to do your overnighter by yourself and things like that. So, yeah, good memories of that.
Great.
And growing up, obviously, yeah, the rugby was very good. Got to, year 10. I was just about to be named in the Otago under-14 team.
Wow.
And then the week before that, broke my leg playing, because they make OBs, they make you play like a grade above.
Yeah,
so
of course, makes sense.
Like a little 14-year-old playing a 16-year-old. It's kind of like a grown man at that. Especially some hit puberty a lot earlier.
Yeah.
So it was tough for us, but obviously it good in the long run. But yeah, obviously my leg couldn't handle it and snapped in half. So that was that.
What position did you play?
I was either midfield or wing.
Right.
Yeah, I really loved Tana Umaga. Actually, since in 1997. Do you remember the old Rugby Rave magazines you got from Macca's?
Yep.
Yeah.
I entered a competition, and you got to draw your favourite All Black. So I drew Jonah Lomu.
Nice.
And won a competition to meet the All Blacks.
Did you?
Yeah. So when they were in Dunedin for the test, we went and met them, and that's where Tana was just got named, and this cool guy with dreadlocks.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I was 7 years old, and I went up to him the most during the day.
Yeah.
So much so that went up to him for the last time, and he's like, "You again? Like, what are you doing back here? Like, tell your brothers and sisters to do their own dirty work." So that was pretty cool.
Nice.
So yeah, I was in love with him from then on.
Yeah.
And obviously he was a winger at start, and then moved into
shifted
the midfield.
To the midfield, yeah.
I just followed him.
Nice.
Followed in his footsteps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice
That's,
one. But
that's
so
sort of the early teenage years, yeah.
And so was the broken leg sort of the end of your rugby career, or did it just sort of put it on hold for a bit?
Yeah, it was my very first big injury.
Yeah, right.
And obviously, I was on crutches, but then it didn't heal properly, and I was playing basketball, and then it broke again. So I was on
Playing basketball?
Yeah, just trying to do a wee step, and it snapped again because it didn't heal properly. So, I was on crutches for like a year, but then got back into it the next year, the next season. But just still wasn't really
never fully healed.
Never fully you lose that confidence, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Guess going hard. So sort of looking for like what else to do, and even the teachers or the rector at your entrance interview, he's like, "Well, yeah, rugby's all good, but what else are you going to do?" And I had no idea then, but then after I broke my leg, and back then you could get your license when you're 15, so
yeah, that's right.
I got my license, and I got a scooter.
Yep.
Because you could drive around on your learners.
Yeah, of course.
So that was cool, bit of freedom, cruising up around the girls' schools and things like that on your scooter.
As you do.
And then, and then I got into I was like, loved sort of, obviously, being with the boys and hanging out and stuff like that. So then I ended up getting a old Bedford van.
Oh, yeah.
Where I could drive around all the boys in the back.
Nice.
We could go do laps, things like that. And that van sort of, because it was in 1982, sort of got me into a bit of mechanic type stuff. So
nice.
I was like, yeah, sweet, I could be a mechanic. So that was sort of my goal then, sort of fifth and sixth form. I was just gonna be a mechanic.
Wow. So you're a bit of a boy racer back in the day, or just
we did go down to the drag train and things like that, but obviously it was a big diesel van. Just for heaps of lads, but we had like the subwoofers and
did you? Oh, nice.
Neons and things like that.
And much involvement in the Undy 500. So I spent about 6 months in Dunedin, and it was probably the last couple of years that they had it on. I was over there working in a hotel, and
yeah,
man, it was crazy.
Yeah, it was. We did always at school. We would always go and do laps around the student area and point out what flats we wanted to live in, and and what we were going to call it and things like that. And I don't have many memories of like going to student parties though at school.
Yeah,
we sort of kept ourselves up the hill.
Yeah.
But yeah, certainly the Undy 500s, the famous one. I was actually there. I think the last time they had a riot. We were actually living on Castle Street.
You weren't leading that haka that they were doing with the police there, were you?
Nah, that wasn't me. There was a bit of pepper spray involved though.
Nice.
That's sort of what us being obviously students, but growing up in Dunedin, we sort of frothed for that stuff. And
oh yeah, for sure.
It, like the toga parade and all that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the National Nude Day. They started having
Yeah,
that
the
as
rugby
well.
match.
Yeah, that's right.
Try to keep away from
playing
that.
rugby in the nude.
Yeah.
You know about that. I don't know if I'd want to be near your kumu in a ruck, bro.
Yeah.
So growing up as a avid rugby player, and then being a bit of a hoon around town, I suppose.
Yeah.
What made you move into sort of chemistry? Would you call it chemistry, or the subject of becoming a pharmacist
chemistry.
through uni? Because that's quite a drastic change.
Yeah, it was. I actually had a Korean mate, who was obviously, pretty astute studier, and but also he had a Honda Integra, actually VTEC. So that was cool.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he would always, in like sixth form, he'd be down at the Otago Uni library, like studying with all his other Koreans. That's just what they did.
Yeah.
That was their form of hanging out, was studying their high school stuff at the uni library. And so I went along one night, and he was saying, like, you're pretty good at science, like, why don't you, like, I'm going to be a doctor, you should be a doctor as well. And so I was like, sweet, I'll give that a go. And yeah, we ended up just late nights at the uni library in sixth and seventh form. Obviously did quite well at school, I mean, in the sciences, and got
Nice.
into first year health sci. So yeah, that was sort of a big change of mindset, really. That, and didn't really like getting my hands dirty, working on the van.
I feel that. Yep.
Because I was a kitchen hand at the time, and I'd come to work and have oil all over my hands and have to scrub for hours just before starting work. So I was like, I wasn't too keen on that. So yeah, thought I'd give science and medicine a go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you always have a natural interest in medicine and health, or was this friend quite important in leading you that way?
Yeah, no, more him. I never thought it was nothing that I thought possible. Like, never had anyone in my whānau go to uni or anything like that. So I was sort of, I was just like, mechanic, maybe finish seventh form and then be a mechanic. And he was sort of showed me it was possible, I guess, by bringing me along to the library those nights. And
nice.
And then you see that hard work reflected in your grades, and you're like, shit,
absolutely,
like, this is actually possible. And
absolutely. What was your friend's name?
Jay Pian.
Cool. Big shout out to you. Great job.
Yeah. Well, Wang Jay calls himself now. Yeah. He's actually doing his PhD now. So,
wow.
Yeah, over in Melbourne. So
fantastic. That's a cool story.
Studying, yeah.
Yeah. That's a great story.
Yeah, I told him I'd give him my first paycheck as a doctor.
Yeah.
For getting me into uni, but I'm not quite a doctor yet, so he's still waiting.
And are you pursuing the doctor? You're going down the track of being a doctor, or you quite happy where you are now?
Yeah, that ship's almost sailed, I'd say. Did the first year health science, and then made the waiting list for second year medicine.
Right.
But I got into a bit of trouble while on that waiting list.
As you do, as we do.
Caught up in the scarfy life.
Yeah.
And so never got off that waiting list. So then I went and did a neuroscience degree.
Oh yeah.
Because you can apply again with a degree.
Right.
So I was pretty interested in neuroscience and how the brain works and things like that. So
nice.
And then that was second and third year having to do that. But obviously second year we were flatting on Castle Street, right in the thick of it, and that sort of took priority that year. So those grades weren't too good, and then so I was left with a lot of work to do in third year to try and get them good enough to get into medicine. But
right.
Yeah, didn't quite make that cut.
Yeah.
Again. So, and it was around that time that I got introduced to a Māori pharmacist Lisa, and she was just like frothing her job and couldn't speak more highly of what her role was as a pharmacist and what she can do. Like, so I didn't really know what a pharmacist was.
Yep.
But yes, I was like, oh yeah, I'll give that a go. Another few years. What's the worst that could happen?
Nice.
Yeah.
I love the fact that you just took opportunities, you know, and sounds as if once you talk to people that made a lot of sense with what they were talking about, it was quite an easy decision to go that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's more like, I guess, influential people that you meet along the way, and obviously just how fizzed Lisa was about her career as a pharmacist. Yeah. Thought it couldn't hurt to check it out.
Give it a go. Yeah. Especially when you see people with a passion for something, and it's like, I wish I could have that kind of passion too.
Yeah.
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 So, any questions from your side, bro?
Yeah, the first question is, what is a pharmacist? To be
honest,
I know what a pharmacy is, and I know when they go at the back, they get all the prescriptions ready, they get all my omeprazole sorted out,
Yeah.
But what actually is a pharmacist?
So a pharmacist is, I guess, someone that's done a pharmacy degree, which is a 4-year degree that looks at your anatomy, physiology, but then like pharmacokinetics, pharmacodynamics, so like how drugs work in your body and how your body works on drugs. And then we also do sort of look at different body systems, how that works, and then you get into, so that's a 4-year degree, and then you got to do a 1-year internship, which is either, so you can either be in a community pharmacy, what you've just described as, out the back, doing all the medicines out there, or you can go into a hospital, and so you've got hospital pharmacists who are also doing making sure, so the main role, I guess, of a pharmacist is, I guess, it's like a safety net to start with. So if you bring a prescription in, it may look like we just grab something off the shelf and put a label on it and hand it out, but as soon as that script comes in, we're making sure this medicine is the right dose for this person, look up that person's history, what other medicines are they on, does this interact with that, and then thinking about what potential side effects they could be, they need to look out for, and then making sure it's the right medicine, and it's the right medicine goes to the right patient, and they know how to take it and what they're taking it for, and things like that.
Awesome. That's a great explanation. Yeah.
It is.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's a community pharmacist, and then your hospital pharmacists are. So I've only done 6 months in a hospital, and that was mainly you do the rounds on the ward. Obviously, doctors go in and they're charting all these medicines, but then the pharmacist's job is actually what's go and talk to this patient and be like, what do you actually take at home as well, and things like that, and that's real on the job, like changing medicines here and there. It's quite you feel like quite a good part of the medical team in the hospital. The doctors rely on you quite a lot.
Wow.
Whereas out in community, obviously there's the GP and the pharmacy, 2 separate
Quite
buildings,
separate.
and you're on the phone a lot, but you still sometimes you feel you're battling each other to try and get the right medicine for this person and things like that. Whereas hospital, they're like, right, yep.
Wow.
Oh, good.
That's really interesting. And so when you finished up at uni, were you a qualified pharmacist at that point? Is that how it works?
Yeah, so then I had to go and do a 1-year internship.
Right.
And I was, I didn't know where I was going to end up. Hospital internships are quite sought after.
Okay.
There's a perception that they like all the smart ones go to hospital, but sort of I'd what's the word, debunk that myth, I'd say.
Yes.
Probably the more personable ones would go to community, and
right, makes sense.
Want to get in front of patients more.
Right.
And so so I still didn't really know what one I wanted, but then over in Greymouth, because it's so rural and they struggle to attract pharmacists, there's a internship where you can do half a year in the hospital and half a year in community pharmacy.
Nice.
And so I was like, oh yeah, I'll go there. Never been to the West Coast, but it sounds cool.
I love the West Coast. Love Greymouth.
Yeah, I met the two owners of the pharmacy, came to uni towards the end of the year and just saying like what opportunities there are over there and how it's so rural and it's pretty hands-on. So yeah, made the move over to Mawhera.
Mawhera. Nice. That's the Māori word for Greymouth, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now, just touching on something that you said, so you're able to do half of an internship in the community and half in the hospital. Is that not a normal way to do an internship?
Nah, usually you got to do a whole year, either hospital or community.
Okay.
Some people you might get a couple of weeks experience in the hospital or something like that, or in the community. But yeah, usually you're there for the year. And like hospitals got programs like set out from day one. You get there, you've got all these modules to do and everything like that, so it's pretty structured.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds common sense to me to do kind of half and half, knowing that, well, if you weren't going to go half and half, it's almost like you've already made a decision whether to be a hospital pharmacist or to be a community pharmacist, and you really haven't had a chance to experience the other.
Yeah.
But the half and half sounds like a great way to do it.
Yeah, definitely.
And did it help in your decision making to be a community pharmacist?
Yeah, I think so.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. Even though it was a cool experience at Grey Hospital. And again, because there's not many doctors over there or even nurses, so you're pretty hands-on on the wards and stuff.
Right.
And that was real cool, but I knew that's not what it's like in a bigger hospital.
In a real,
in the cities and things like that. So, yeah, and I liked the community side of things, how you could be a little bit more holistic in your approach.
Right.
Sort of, obviously, hospital's pretty like, take this, this is a pharmaceutical, and because there's all these doctors around you, you sort of get looked at a bit funny if you say, oh, this antibiotic, take a probiotic with it, help prevent gut issues. You'll have some consultants looking at you sideways.
Really?
Yeah. Like, it's just quite an intimidating, especially for an intern or a new pharmacist. Whereas you're in a community pharmacy, obviously the owners love it because they get an extra sale for their product, but also there's a lot of evidence for it helping patients. So I liked how that sort of thing was encouraged.
Right. So is it common to be in conflict? As an example, the example you just mentioned, is that common to sort of have potentially two differing opinions about what's the right thing to do?
Yeah, I think when you start getting into the nutritional medicine side of things, there's obviously doctors and consultants that have never even looked at that and don't know the evidence for it.
Got it.
But even as a young pharmacist or an intern, you probably still don't know either unless you've done extra training. So it's only sort of in the last few years, and I've done extra postgrad training in nutritional medicine and things like that you get the confidence to be like, this, I recommend this and this is why, and give them the evidence. You get a few people going back to their GP and saying, oh, the pharmacist told me about this probiotic, what do you think? And it's like an old school GP, they're like, no evidence,
of course,
don't take that shit.
Yeah.
But then I have to ring them up and be like, it actually does this? And yeah.
Wow.
But I sort of feel, coming to Queenstown, there's obviously a lot more open-minded GPs down here, which is cool, and they're all like most I've engaged with. They're pretty on board with the nutritional medicine
Great.
sort of
And so that offers a great segue into my next question, which is, so how did you make the decision to come to Queenstown? Was that by accident? Was it an intentional thing to come here?
Yeah, it was probably the first ever personal decision I've made for myself.
Nice.
Up until then, it was all career focused.
Yeah.
Yep. And yes, I went from Greymouth to Christchurch, and spent 6 years there.
Wow. Okay.
Really, I guess built a bit of a solid base of. I guess I was working with kaumātua, going around marae, and just getting real deep into the Māori health side of things, helping all the Māori health providers, and again educating them about what a pharmacist does, and obviously there's quite a big Māori population there, and pretty engaged as well, with the kaumātua group going to Rehua Marae, out to Tuahiwi, and even Rapaki. Towards the end there, they were starting to have kaumātua groups, and then Healthy Day at the Pā and things like that.
So I'm going to rewind a bit now, because you just spoke about a whole bunch of things that are really interesting to hear. So how did you make? Obviously, you are Māori, but how did you make the move from being a pharmacist? Making what seems to be a really obvious focus on Māori health. How did that trigger, or was it always something you were ready to pull the trigger on?
That actually came after uni. So you finish uni and then you get a few months off before you start your internship.
Yep.
I didn't really want to get a job as such, so asked if there was any like summer studentships or anything that I could do. And yeah, this one of my heroes, I guess now, Leanne Takaru, she sort of the pathfinder for Māori pharmacists. Nice. She sort of what's the word? Helped out a bit, tapped a few shoulders and said, get this Māori pharmacy student a studentship, like he could be a researcher one day, something like that.
Perfect.
And so I spent that summer to interview whānau, because it was just for a time where the prescription charge had just increased, so it went from $3 per item to $5 per item, and my studentship was interviewing whānau about their challenges with that. Right. And that's when I was like, shit, there's a big problem here. Yeah. There needs to be a bit of focus on this sort of thing. You're talking to whānau who choose between getting their medicines that week, or and then living off a loaf of bread, or having food and not their medicines. So that was a bit of an eye opener for me. Like, obviously I thought I'd seen poverty, like when my parents split up, and had to go on get the community service card and go into wins with my parents and stuff. But this was sort of next level. And that's sort of where I was like, okay, need to focus on this. Yeah. And couldn't really do it too much in my intern year, because it's pretty hectic, trying to actually learn about the pharmaceuticals and stuff. And then so when I became an actual registered pharmacist, and moved to Tautahi, that's where I started sort of reaching out. Started off, I think I was involved in like the Māori caucus at the Canterbury DHB. Wow. I think I don't know how I ended up there, but I said, I'm a Māori pharmacist in Tautahi. At that time there was only I think 2 other Māori pharmacists in the whole city. And I said I'm keen to work with Māori, and my boss at the time actually, she was like, you can go to the marae one morning a week, meet the kaumātua, that was epic. I'd go there, give a wee talk on medicines, and it was just a bit of whakawhanaukataka, really, looking back now. Obviously my boss thought I'd go there, talk about medicines, and then all of a sudden all the kaumātua would come and bring their prescriptions to her pharmacy. But yeah, that didn't happen. So she sort of slowly discouraged me from going there.
Really?
But yeah, so then I had to just start going in my own time, I guess, which was fair enough from her as a business owner. And then so from that I started getting invited to, there was about 12 different Māori health providers up there, and none of them had a pharmacist on their team or
Wow.
really knew what a pharmacist did. So I spent the next sort of 6 months getting invited to their monthly hui, and just saying who I was and what I do, and doing medication reviews and things like that. And yeah, they were very supportive, and started getting me along to their, they have like multidisciplinary meetings about patients and things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's sort of what kicked it all off. Obviously, yeah, scratching the surface and finding a huge need there. And yeah, so I sort of doing it all in my spare time. I was down to just working 4 days a week and spending the other day engaging with the Māori community, finding out, how I could help.
Wow.
Really.
And did you know many of the many people in that Māori community before you did this work, or was this a case of meeting all these people for the first time, making connections, etc.?
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't know anyone up there. Obviously, I'd only been to my own marae, Pukitaraki, like a couple of times during uni. So yeah, I was pretty fresh on the scene. But that was the awesome thing, was obviously the kaumātua rehua and Tuahiwi just took me under their wing, and
wow.
And obviously, gave me a bit of inspiration to, like, I'd belong here, and I am Kaitahu, and just keep going. So
awesome, great story. I mean, I not that I would ever know, but I can't say I know any Māori pharmacists that are out there. Do you have any questions, bro?
Yeah, probably not so much a question, but probably a couple of insights. And the first one is, you said you were out there connecting with kaumātua, koia Māori people struggling, like a lot of Māori people do, living under the breadline. But we all know the needs there. The statistics all show that Māori and Pacific Islanders have, some of the, worst health rates for a number of reasons. But yet there still isn't enough support or push to get people like yourselves out there to connect. Like you said, you got a foot in the door, but then you had to do that off your own accord. And that's just a bit sad that there isn't that support, whether that's from a DHB level, a government level, through other avenues, to get people who are struggling to get internships out there connecting and, helping people that probably need it more than anyone.
Yeah. And do you think more needs to be done to encourage Māori into your field? How do you feel about, or is there a lack of sort of people within those roles within the Māori community? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's getting better. As I said, when I first moved to Tautahi, it was 1 or 2 or 3, and now there's about 13.
Wow, really?
In our Waitaha Ropu we've got.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Which is really good. But the thing, and I was like, epic, there's a lot of work we can be doing in the community, but most of them were in hospital, and the hospital wouldn't let them come to the marae with me. I managed to sneak one of the interns away for a day, and and she loved it. But then, yeah, there was just no room in her schedule to keep coming back with me, and then even the pharmacists in the community, obviously, that they need a job to pay the bills and things like that, and yeah, they would be giving up their wage to come out to the marae.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, which is a bit sad. But I mean, there are other opportunities.
Yep.
Like, yeah, I was lucky enough to. I just saw Te Pūtahitanga were putting on a weekend wānaka down in Lake Pukaki.
Wow.
Near Takapo.
Sometime soon?
No, this was
a while back.
5 years ago now.
Oh, okay.
And it said they were going to do Maurako and Wakaama, and it's for Māori in the fitness industry, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Like health industry, but it was mainly like personal trainers or group fitness instructors heading down there. So obviously I was pretty had a pretty, I guess, flexible lifestyle at that point. So yeah, went along, and yeah, we stopped in Temuka, did some Maurako.
Wow.
Practiced the Wakaama, and then we carried on down to Lake Pukaki and got in there. We had 2 waka there and paddled it. We had the shot over jet as a safety boat.
Right.
And then the harbour master called up and said, not allowed motorboats on this lake. And they're like, do you know, we're actually Kaitahu, we actually own this lake. So yeah, that shut out the harbour master. But yeah, the crew that was down there, that was awesome. That was, I guess, I'd been working with Kaumātua a lot, but this was my first sort of engagement with other Māori health professionals, I guess,
right,
in the area. And yeah, that night we were all out camping, and one of the ladies at Te Pūtahitanga said, we've got about 12 FTEs to give out to Māori who are doing epic stuff to it was for Move the Māori Nation.
Wow.
So getting more Māori moving.
12?
So yeah. It was across the whole Te Waipounamu.
Okay.
And yeah, I don't know how I ended up on this wānaka, but they like just go around the room and everyone say what they do, and
yeah.
And then yeah, you might get a half an FTE or a full one, and that's where the boys like Jay Puki from Bros for Change, that was when the first time meeting him, and he said what he did. I was like, shit. I was asked I don't really do anything physical, like maybe come out to physically take tablets or something like that, but also talked about my nutritional medicine training and how I focus on Kai first, and yeah, what else you can be doing apart from just taking pills.
Yeah, right. And
yeah, they sort of loved that, and yeah, I ended up with half an FTE for that, but then I had to make an entity so I could then be able to receive the funding and things like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that's where Kia Kaha Chemists was born.
Okay, right. Got it.
Yeah, build an entity for that, and yeah, half an FTE was awesome. And that's really when I really ramped up, going to every marae event and everything, and showing my face everywhere, and doing a lot of home visits.
Nice.
Yeah, it sort of shook up the Canterbury pharmacy scene a bit, because the DHB would fund you a medication review if a pharmacist goes into someone's home.
Right.
You got like $150 or something, or the pharmacy got that.
Yeah.
But because I had this other funding, I was able to spin my own. And they had like obviously a template that you have to fill out. But because I had this other funding, I started looking at the Maihana model, and using that in the interviews. So the interviews ended up going for like 2.5 hours, which obviously isn't viable for the current health funding, but I was able to do that with this extra funding, and getting epic outcomes, encourage more encouraging whānau to more engage with the health system and debunk the myths around how it's just poison or things like that.
Yeah, especially to Māori, you know, some people don't like to take modern medicines.
Yeah.
So you mentioned something called the Maihana method?
Maihana model.
Model? So what is that exactly? I mean, is there a short explanation of what it is?
Yeah, so it's just it's like a Māori model of health, sort of like Whakatipu whā.
Oh, okay.
From Mason Jury, but this one was developed by Professor Suze Pitama.
Right.
She's based in Otautahi as well, but it does. You do look at taha whānau, Heningaro,
right,
Wairua, and then Tinana. But then the model was actually the double-hulled waka.
Right.
So you've got those ones keeping the waka together, but you're in the moana, and there's you've got a battle, say like battling with the winds and the currents, but there it's actually like racism, colonisation,
right,
things like that.
Yeah, those are the strong external forces. Yeah.
So yeah, all good. You got your four walls, but what are you battling day to day? And then your iwi katoa. So like, what other supports have you got around you? And yeah, things like that. So she developed it for doctors in a quick 15-minute interview. So
right,
to be able to get deep quickly.
Yeah.
I sort of took it the other way and went deep long ways, and because I was getting such a funny, I could spend the whole afternoon at the kaumatua's house, and I loved that because you'd go like I pull out old photos. And
it's fantastic.
Coffees and biscuits and
you get all the history. You know, you get some kōrero from way back in the day. Yeah, there's these things you can learn from our kaumatua that. It's real, it's precious, treasured stuff, and a lot of it for me is just the mātauranga, just the information that they share. Yeah.
So I was probably benefiting more from being there rather than trying to tell them about their medicines. But
I know that's what you think, but I would say that they felt that they got the most out of that engagement too. So that's fantastic. I wish we'd had this chat earlier. I had no idea of your, quite deep connection back with the people through your work. And it's obviously something that's a passion to you personally. Otherwise, I mean, if you don't have a passion for this, it's hard to keep doing it, right? So
definitely.
This is obviously a passion for you. So now I guess I get to go back to the question of... So how did you end up in Christchurch? So we know as much as it was a personal decision, so it was maybe a sea change or a lifestyle change. But yeah, give us an update on how that worked.
Yeah, so that was probably almost 3 years ago now. Sort of obviously found myself still battling away there in Otautahi. I had a couple of hemp businesses and that on the go, and they were doing really well. But then, still not quite satisfied. And then, actually ran into my now fiance at a mate's 30th. So she was there. So we sort of found ourselves at this 30th, and then. Following 30th, it was the season of mates from high school's 30th and stuff. So, and we were mates back at school, and so found ourselves in our early 30s, single, and reminiscing on the old school days, so that was sort of round about the time of the lockdown, I think.
Oh, was it? It would have been,
before the lockdown, and then lockdown happened, and then we're sort of doing a bit of a long distance thing after lockdown, and then I was like, it's sort of now or never. you're in your early 30s, and
Absolutely.
And yeah,
Clock's ticking.
career-wise, you can be a pharmacist anywhere, and can sell hemp anywhere as well. So I was like, right, I'm going to come down. Took it a bit slowly, moved into our mate's place, who happened to just be across the road here in Arrowtown.
Okay, really?
So I moved all my stuff into their parents' holiday home. And yeah, the first 6 weeks didn't stay one night in that holiday home. It was always across the road. So yeah, that's sort of the gist of it. Come down and yeah, it's sort of hard to take it slow at this age, I think.
Yeah.
She's got a couple of kids.
Yeah.
That time there was a 4 and a 2-year-old. So
Yeah.
so you're trying to take it slow, but at the same time, you're going to be in these kids' lives, and
Yeah.
and when you know, so
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
get into it, and
Yeah.
and yeah, sort of underestimated what it's like to take on 2 kids. Definitely, so it's been big learnings. But yeah, all love part of the journey, and
Yeah.
I'm loving where I'm at the moment. So
Nice. Yeah, well, we're loving the fact that you moved to Queenstown as well, because we got a free kitchen out of it. So thanks for that.
yeah, that's it. Eh?
Yeah.
I love that community Facebook page, the Tahuna Whānau. We
Yeah.
didn't really have anything like that in Otautahi.
Really?
Quite
Wow.
a big city. I mean, there was pockets of it.
Yeah.
And people doing cool things, but nothing like this.
Yeah.
And I guess that's that whole 'cause everyone's from up north. And,
Yep.
And there's I think that collective need of whānau down
Absolutely.
here. So it's quite special, I think.
It is. Yeah, we're a pretty close Māori community down here, and we really sort of help each other in need. And when it comes to sort of selling stuff or giving stuff away, it's the same with me. I'll always go to the Māori community before I put it out to anywhere else.
Yeah.
Because, we all want to help each other first and foremost. What do you think here, Hika?
Oh man, I've got heaps that's been sort of running through my my head, to be honest, and I've been jotting down a million questions which we can probably get to later on. But I suppose winding it back a little bit, you talked about the Maihana model. Was that correct? Which is a little bit of whare tapawha and the double hold waka. It's funny because I work in the health and safety profession, and as soon as you brought in other external factors that immediately resonated with me, with not only the mind, body, the whānau, but, we're impacted by a number of external factors within our lives.
Yeah.
Like you said, colonization, racism,
Yep.
not only that, but even for other family, just being away from their family, their people, their whenua.
Yep.
Yeah.
The effects that COVID have had, all of these other effects. So it's great that there's actually a formal model out there that people like yourselves and, people in that Māori health stream are now following. So that's great. But if we jump jump forward now and talk about some, medicine or, some of the stuff that you specialize in, working with kaumātua marae, you'd be well versed in rongoa Māori and some of the rongoa Māori, not just, the old waipiro, the waina and the inus, or the fry bread. That's probably rongoa for the soul. But, I'd be really keen to maybe listen to you to maybe either debunk some mistruths, about it. If you have any, whether you can promote some of the common rongoa Māori people use, whether it's the use of kawakawa or, whatever, or even simple things maybe like karakia, that's a, I suppose, a useful tool that people use for their well-being. But yeah, super keen to hear your thoughts on those sorts of things.
Yeah, that's huge.
Is that
I'd say
chew number 2, I think?
It's more, obviously, don't have much mātauranga in that aspect. What I used to do in Otautahi was Lincoln Rehua Marae actually had an in-house rokoa practitioner, and so I joined with her a lot, and I'd bring in a lot of patients to her, and it was cool just sitting there watching her do her work, and things like that, and I think that's where I see my role is recognising it and then being able to help whānau point them in the direction. Yeah, I would love one day once I finish my pharmaceutical studies. I'm still studying at the moment, but yeah, I'm always really interested in that. 'Cause I've been doing obviously the nutritional medicine, looking at vitamins and minerals and food and things like that, but it's more the traditional rokoa. I mean, luckily now found a few practitioners here in Tahuna and listen to what they have to say, and yeah, so it's like slowly coming to me, but I haven't had any sort of like formal training in that aspect, so I'm more that's where I guess the Kia Kaha comes in, about it's more strengthening the relationships, and that's where a lot of the need is in the navigating of the health system in itself. And like I find myself going to GP appointments with whānau and just
Awesome.
Being there to give a bit of clarity around what's going on, and then also at the same time, if they are using rokoa, they can not be afraid to tell their GP or someone, and I'll be there being like, yeah, and this is what it does, and you're able. There's all the resources out there to look up if there's any interactions or things like that. So, yeah.
Awesome.
I don't know about you, Ehika, but I'm loving hearing the Kaitahu dialect. It's so refreshing to hear the dialect. Someone who is actually able to use the dialect a lot. We know of it, and we know of a few people here that speak it, but we just don't hear it often enough. And it's the kind of dialect that I want to train my ear to. I went to a wānanga with Hana Regan. She was doing a kōrero all in te reo Māori, and because she uses that meta, I was really struggling to understand a lot of what she said. But about halfway through it, I started to my ear was getting tuned to it, so I could hear it. So I just want to give you a big mihi, because I love the fact that you are able to use your dialect so effortlessly. Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah, very natural. Very natural.
Very natural.
Nice. Yeah. We've been doing a sort of online mānaka with Pukitaraki.
Right.
And yeah, obviously that's been awesome. Chucking the K in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So still work in progress, but
that's all right.
It sounds sometimes, great. But
yeah. I mean, like, I love it. You know, I hear the word and I'm like, what's that word? And then, of course, yeah. Tōhuka had me for a bit there. What are your thoughts, Ehika?
Yeah, so absolutely, it's really awesome to hear someone just speak like that, so natural and effortlessly. But I've got a couple of questions, if you don't mind me throwing them in there. I had a few, and I might even get a bit of a diagnosis on the chew for everyone to see today. But the first one is, it's quite a big question actually, which was, what are some of the biggest issues our people face that you've been involved in, and is there a way that we can overcome them, or can you provide some, some hints or tips for our people to be able to overcome some of those issues, whether that's them just going to the doctor or connecting with their pharmacist more, or reaching out to you through, Kia Kaha Chemists Ltd?
Yeah, I think what I find the biggest issue is, I guess, whānau, like not knowing what they are entitled to at their GP, or even, I guess a big thing is what a pharmacist even does. I'm part of this research I'm a part of at the moment. We're asking whānau their experience with pharmacy, and a lot of them are like, why would I go there? There's the shop ladies just gossiping at the counter, and I get assaulted by the smell of perfume on the way in.
Oh yeah, I do.
So there's a bit of a I think there's a bit of a mismatch there around what a pharmacist actually is and can do. So another reason why I try and be mobile and out in the community a bit more, away from all that side of things. But even in the GP, like not knowing what you can ask for and things like that. I mean, every health service you go into, they got like the 10 rights on the wall of what is from the Health and Disability Commission, what you're entitled to, but still fun. They might know that, but then they're still a bit whakamā to even talk to ask for something. And that's what I've found here as well. The same thing. So a bit of a plug. Next Tuesday we've got a lady from the Health and Disability Commission coming up from Murihiku to talk with whānau. We're going to do a lunchtime and an after work presentation.
Nice.
And just to give a space for whānau to share their stories of times where they've felt judged by their health practitioner or felt they couldn't ask for things or and I guess another big thing obviously you got that 15-minute appointment, and even some GPs now are saying you can only come with one issue, and
really?
I mean, whānau's going to have a shopping list to get through, but they're like, nah, let's just focus on that one, and that's all we've got time for, and we'll make another appointment for the next thing. That's a wee bit backwards in my eyes.
Absolutely.
That's probably the biggest issue.
Cool.
Is just the mātauraka, I guess, of what's available and I don't know. I'd say there's a tight knit whānau here, but there's and a lot of different groups going on and things like that. But there's even like a walking group or something like that. Just to get us a bit more active. I know obviously Mauraka, and that's awesome, and I love going to that. But for some people, it's a wee bit too far.
It's a bit hard work, for sure.
So, it was just like a walking group or something like that, just for the sense of community, but be getting active at the same time.
Great idea.
And maybe throwing you on the spot here, and short and sharp, what would be your 3 top tips for Māori people, and how they can go about maybe taking better care of themselves, other than don't drink, do lots of exercise.
It's the easy eat whole foods. I mean, I'll say it's easy, but it's not. Living in a colonised world with your K-fry and Maccas around, but it's more if you can, and it's easy to say, is like learn where your food comes from and who's made your food and things like that. It just gets you thinking about what it's going to be doing to your body, and I mean, that's
what
basics.
you eat. So you're going to turn into a kina, bro. Oh.
And a chicken thigh.
I'm going to turn into a drumstick.
But just knowing that, I mean, that's really basic stuff, but it's hard to implement in this Western world. So I guess it's just taking the time to think where your food's coming from, making the time to exercise, looking at food first before going to supplements, or if you do get an ailment, there's obviously lots of natural things that we can do to help with any sort of ailment. Maybe looking at that first, and then if worst case, then maybe engage with the pharmaceuticals or Western medicine.
So What's your viewpoint on some of the fad diets that are going around out there? So, you get Atkins, you've got keto, bro, paleo. I've done paleo, fasting. Are all of them, in your mind, all of them sort of part of the same problem? They're not a long-term sort of thing? What do you feel?
I mean, I'm not a dietitian or anything, but bit of training in nutritional medicine, and myself been on the journey of a weight loss journey every sort of few years. What's going to work? Try keto. Went for a big plant-based phase when I was selling hemp, and plant-based is the way to go. And then into fasting, and even I've done a couple of 100-hour fasts.
Have you?
Yeah, which have been awesome. Nothing but water and black coffee for 100 hours. And you feel amazing afterwards, and you're working out the whole time through it, and it really makes you think, man, I don't actually need to be eating this much food, and you can still function. So
fasting, you see some benefits in fasting?
Definitely, yeah.
So I'm glad you said that, because I mean, I'm fasting currently, but I do the 16-hour one.
Yeah.
Ain't no 100-hour here.
Yeah.
But I haven't found it that difficult. I found it quite easy. And I now have the same viewpoint that why was I eating all this food?
Yeah.
Because I obviously don't need it, because my body doesn't crave it.
Yeah.
With the fasting. I'm gearing up for a 42-hour fast that I haven't quite got around to yet. But I can't believe. Yeah. You've done in 100 hours?
Yeah, I've done a couple of 100 hours and then a few sort of 72.
Wow.
I think 72 is the one. I think 100 is pushing it a bit far, but 72 is where you get the real maximum benefits and cellular clean out and things like that. But yeah, even the intermittent, I guess what it is, obviously you're feeling good because you're eating less calories, and same with all these other diets. It's more like you're doing well because you're eating less calories, and therefore you're losing weight. But it's actually, and a lot of dietitians would bag every single thing and be like, just eat a balanced diet.
Yeah.
But that's easier said than done.
Yeah.
Again, and so sometimes you do need these fads to kickstart you into it. But I think with the intermittent fasting, it's probably the easiest to implement. And you just don't eat for a period, and then the times you are eating, you're actually not eating as much. You're not grazing throughout the day. So to me, that's an easy way to reduce your calories.
Yeah. Right.
Some people might find the keto diet's an easy thing to do and get benefits from it. So whatever works, like everybody's different.
That's true.
So.
Yeah, no, that's true. Whatever works, really. At the end of the day, if it works for you, hey, who says it's wrong? Yeah.
As soon as it starts taking over your life, though, I guess that's when it's going to start becoming hard to maintain.
Yeah. Yep. KFC's taken over my life.
Yeah. That smell down the main street,
I just can't help myself. But
So
even on a fasting diet, I'm good.
Yeah.
To give some of our listeners a bit of an example of maybe you in action, or you're giving you a prescription. Kara's probably same as me. I get some pretty bad indigestion, heartburn, probably because I don't chew my food enough.
Yeah.
A lot of people have told me that.
That's the
hoofing it
biggest,
down.
That would be the biggest breakthrough, is chew your food. If you slow down, if you chew your food 50 times before swallowing, that's
oh my God,
you're going to eat less and feel fuller for longer. Yeah.
Ain't nobody got time to chew their food.
Do that, so. But otherwise, I get a little bit of indigestion, heartburn, so I take omeprazoles, not all the time because I don't get it all the time.
Yeah.
But if I know I'm heading back home and those Anderson pies back up in Taranaki and all those fry breads, hangies, and copious amounts of alcohol, I'm definitely going to ramp myself up pre, during, and post. But you got any advice around
Yes.
how I should be utilizing that better or not, or should it be a consistent thing, or as and when, or what are your thoughts?
It sounds like you're doing it all right. Now, obviously, just taking it when you know you're going to have an Anderson's pie or something like that.
Or 5.
Yeah.
It's usually minimum 3 every time I go there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even so, you probably shouldn't be taking an omeprazole. Because what's that doing? It's stopping your stomach from producing acid, in your digestive system. So then you get relief because there's not much acid there, but you actually need that acid to digest your food properly. So what I tell people is usually if it's an ongoing issue, you'd start just take sort of 5 ml of apple cider vinegar in a glass of water and have that about half an hour before every meal, so up to 3 times a day if it's really bad. And what that's doing is it's putting a bit of acid in your stomach, so then your stomach naturally, it's like, okay, there's enough acid here, I can stop producing it. And that's where it balances out, compared to taking your omeprazole or Losec, which is just completely stopping that that acid pump. And so therefore, if you stop taking it, your body's going to start I've got no acid here, I need to overproduce it, and that's where you get your reflux and things like that.
Cool.
So that's one tip, but at least before the first main meal of the day, doing that, it's pretty hard to swallow, but and it does feel acidic to start with, but you'll find that you can actually start digesting food properly, and it doesn't just sit there.
Yep.
Great tip.
Would it be any different if I just drunk a bottle of cider before their breakfast feed? Does that do the same thing? Or?
I think it works like that.
Don't think it's the same kind of cider.
Damn it. And the other one, probably for a lot of our listeners out there, and Corey can attest to this, is any specific remedies or hints or help you can for people that get the gout.
The gout.
Yeah, I should have known this one was coming.
This should have been the first thing on the talking menu, was gout for Māori people. Yeah,
definitely. Definitely gout and Māori. There's a lot of misconception around it's because we eat kaimoana and that's what gives us gout, but actually food's only sort of a 10% contributor to it. There's a big genetic component, and so I don't know, I probably shouldn't be telling the yarn, but it's something to do with tupuna coming back in the day and needing to hold on to the uric acid for not eating for long periods of time and things like that. As our old navigators back in the day. But so there is a bit of a genetic component there which can, I guess, could sort of only be treated with medicine. There's probably natural things you can do to clear uric acid out of your body, but the easiest way is allopurinol, which is greatly under prescribed in Māori. There's heaps of studies out there of Māori going to GP and just been given anti-inflammatories, and so to treat the gout and not, or to treat the inflammation and not treat the gout. There's big campaigns trying to get more Māori to get prescribed allopurinol. It's going to reduce the uric acid and therefore no flare-ups. Whereas, what's currently happening is GPs just throwing anti-inflammatories, your Voltaren and things like that, and it's actually killing whānau because those drugs are so hard on our stomachs, on our kidneys. And it's compounded by the All Blacks being sponsored by Voltaren, and you got Sevu Reece on the ad, and then so now all the Polynesians and Māori think, he takes that, we should just take that and we'll keep on playing and things like that. But they don't realise it's actually like stuffing out their kidneys and their stomachs and
Yeah, well, as a person afflicted by gout and being a good modern Māori myself, I have my allopurinol that I take daily, whānau. So,
you noticed it working?
Yeah, I haven't had any. So I had one mild symptom that came up after, well, actually, it came out of nowhere. I thought it might have been when I was doing my rako, but I hadn't actually been doing a lot. So I had some swelling in my knee, and because I'm kind of old, I decided I should start going to the doctor a little more. Yeah. So I went for a checkup, and they said I had elevated levels of uric acid, which is probably where that inflammation comes from. So while I didn't have the "it hurts to put a sheet on it" problem, you know, like a lot of so much of my whānau have that big toe with the gout problem. So I was well aware of what gout was, but I was quite surprised to hear that what I had was probably gout, given that it wasn't sore to touch. It was just a little bit of swelling. But just being told that I had elevated levels of uric acid, and this is something that my body, as you say, it's more of a genetic issue, not a food issue, and my body was having trouble getting rid of it. They recommended that I go on allopurinol, and knowing how hard it was on my uncles that got it, I'm just not taking any precautions. I said, give me the pills, I'll take them daily. And so it's kind of hard because I've never taken pills before, but they are I've finally, after 6 months, I'm getting into a routine of taking it daily. Yeah. So, nice. I would recommend it. I haven't been afflicted by that at all. I've got other knee problems that have nothing to do with gout, but but we'll work out a solution to that stuff later, Brendon. Yeah. Wink, wink.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, thought I'd just jump in.
Good story.
Yeah, shake my pills to everybody.
Yeah. But yeah, even now, like I went to the GP with someone the other day, and they were on allopurinol, but still getting these sore toes, and the GP was like trying to prescribe like gabapentin or pretty hard,
real harsh
nerve blocking stuff. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure you just need to increase the allopurinol.
Yeah.
And yeah, sure enough, doubled the dose, and the pain's gone. So
great.
Yeah, just things like that. And I mean, it's not the GP's fault.
No.
They've probably got 100 other things to think about.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm just focusing on the medicine. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, do you have any other questions, Hika? We're kind of, as usual, we're half an hour over our time limit. This is such an interesting topic.
I think all the rest of my questions, I probably need to come and see you and get them answered face to face.
Need to ask in private. Privately. Yeah. Yeah. It's all right. You can get that boil lanced later. No, I'm just kidding. No one's got any boils. Yeah. But
yeah.
Oh well, so thank you so much. I think, given where we kind of got to with this conversation, I'd really like to have more, so we can talk about sort of health implications for Māori in particular. So yeah, I think there would be really a good idea to come back and have a bit of a deeper chat, maybe focusing on that health aspect for Māori. But for now, we're kind of running out of time. So what I'll do is I'll hand us back over to the bro Taika to give us the wrap-up sort of questions. Yep.
Cool. So our quickfire questions that we give to all of our interviewees. The first one for you. One piece of advice you could give your 21-year-old self.
Ooh. Don't throw that bottle.
Oh, that's funny. I had in my head it might have something to do with those scarfy days. Yeah.
What was your favourite age?
21.
When you threw that bottle.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, early 20s.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of freedom.
Yeah.
Most favourite place in the world?
I say St. Clair Beach.
Ah, nice.
Yep.
When the waves are rolling.
Yeah. I used to surf there a little bit. Love that beach. Clear water.
Yeah. Yeah, don't go back enough.
One quote, mantra, whakatauki, or saying that you like to live by?
I don't know if I live by it, but I found myself saying it a lot. Of if you can change it, why worry? If you can't change it, why worry?
Ooh.
That's a good
Awesome.
one. Or
like
work
that.
hard, play harder.
Any three people, dead or alive, that you could invite for dinner?
Yeah, definitely Tana Umaga.
Yeah.
Any other celebrities or family members?
Tana's mum and Tana's dad.
Yeah.
His,
I'd
his
love,
brother, Mike Umaga.
Yeah, he's the man. Probably it'd be cool to have Auntie Aroha back.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, I was looking forward to catching up with her soon, actually. But yeah, obviously, passed away a couple of weeks ago now. She was a big influence on me at Tuahiwi, and obviously, a huge campaigner for Māori rights and te reo and even kapahaka, and making the health system serve Māori. So she'd have some good yarns, definitely.
Cool.
And who else?
Two's fine. If you can only think of two's absolutely
That'd be
fine.
big enough yarns, I think.
Yeah.
Between Tana and Aroha.
And lastly, what does the future hold for Brendon McIntosh?
I'd like to get better at Maurako.
Nice.
Bit more consistent turning up. It's a bit hard now. I've got three tamariki.
Yeah.
Cool.
I don't know, there might be a fourth one on the way. We'll see.
Yes.
I'm getting married at the end of this year.
Yeah.
So yeah, lots of stuff coming up.
Nice.
You
but
need
yeah,
a
futures-
celebrant? Hey,
Yeah,
Yep.
if you need
Celebrant.
need a
If
celebrant.
you need a Māori celebrant.
there's an idea.
Yeah.
My best mate is one, but he still might not turn up because he loves pissing up too much. So you can never guarantee if he's going to be there or not. But yeah, have you in the back.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely, future's definitely here in Tahuna.
Awesome.
Epic spot to bring up the kids and yeah, cool community,
It is, yeah.
cool mocha around.
Yeah.
Hopefully
Beautiful.
start climbing a few more of them. Yeah.
Awesome.
Nice.
Awesome. Hey, it's been a pleasure having you on and sharing all your mātauraka with us. And, there's definitely a part two that we need to get you on so we can just specifically focus on, rongoa Māori and maybe some of the other unique aspects that that you look after. But, hey, it's been awesome to listen to your story. And, for our viewers out there, if you've got any questions, for Brendon, you can hit them in our comments. But also, you can find them at www.kiakahachemists.org.nz. Is that correct?
Alright.
Yeah.
And you can hit him a message on there, check out his website. But other than that, Ihika, you got any closing comments?
No, just big mihi to you, Brendon. Thank you so much for spending time with us today. I guess the area of work that you do is so important to Māori in particular. So, yeah, ko koe te whetū taki aho I te rangi, ko koe a runga. You know, I just, yeah, just want to give you a big mihi for all the work that you do for our Māori community. Kia ora.
So for all our viewers out there, you know, like as usual, hit us a like, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time on The Chew. Mā te wā.
Mā te wā.
Ka kite.